Hi, I'm Brad Skinner, President and CEO of Milbank Manufacturing. The vision of Charles Milbank began in 1927, and as we celebrate 95 years in 2022, his vision has continued to what we are today, a proud American manufacturer, deeply rooted in innovation and commitment to growth. Milbank would not be what we are today without the dedication and hard work of people of Milbank. To honor our 95 years, let's get to know some of the families of Milbank.
My name is Mary Meyer. I've been here for 24 years. I started in 1998, and I am a category manager. This is my son, Kevin Meyer. He started here in 2013, and this is my brother, Rick Johnson, and he started here in 2021.
All right, my name is Brian Welch. My title is Technical Services Manager, and I started at Milbank in 1992. This is my son, Justin Welch.
I'm a die maker. I started in January of 2019.
I'm Monique Greer, heavy duty line floater, and I started August 12, 2022. This is Otis Greer, that's my dad, and that is Moesha Thrower, that is my niece.
My name's Tom Galbraith. I started here in 1978. This is my son, Britt Galbraith, and he's my son. Oh.
Tom Galbraith is my dad. I'm the maintenance lead at El Dorado. Been here since 2014.
Thank you. I'm Susan McCage, and I've been here since 1987. I'm one of the very few first ones here. And I brought my family here today because we're excited to be here, and I love working for Milbank. This is my nephew, Travis Bell. This is my sister, Janice Moore. This is my cousin, John Brunkhorst. And this is my nephew, Stephen Bell.
My name is Brad Skinner, President and CEO of Milbank. I started in 1986. These are my two boys, Ryan, and this is Cameron.
My name is Leslie Inzer. I'm the Senior Vice President of Human Resources, and I've worked at Milbank for almost 35 years. So I started at Milbank when I was 20 as the receptionist. I love the fact that Milbank is a family-owned company. That's why I've brought my children on to work here too. So I've got Jayla Inzer and Eric Inzer are both working at Milbank. Jayla's working in the Learning and Development Department, and Eric actually works in the plant.
I used to call like several times a day, and I wouldn't just call and ask to speak to my mom. I'd call and ask Betty to page my mom. I would call and be like, "Hi, Miss Betty, can you please page Leslie Inzer, please?" And I mean, I don't know how often I did that, but it was a lot.
Is when I very first started working here. So like I said, I was the receptionist. Came in and Dwayne Skinner walked up, and I'm like, it was so weird because I knew Dwayne from baseball because my high school boyfriend played baseball with Brad Skinner, and so when I saw Dwayne at work, it was just kind of weird because it just kind of felt totally out of place. And so then it wasn't very long after that then that I saw Brad there too, and so it was kind of an interesting kind of pulling that back into my life because I had gone another direction, so I hadn't seen Brad for a little while after baseball. So
I met Leslie Inzer before Milbank. I mean, I was playing baseball in the summers, and that's when I met her. So growing up, I knew of Leslie. One day I'm in the shipping department bringing up something to the corporate office, to the mailroom, and out walks Leslie. And I had no clue that Leslie was working at Milbank, and then find out that her mom had also worked at Milbank for some time, and now that her kids are working at Milbank. So yeah, Leslie and I go way back. We've worked in the last 10 years side by side, and it's been a great relationship. It's a great culture that she's also developing here at Milbank with her family.
I came to work at Milbank because I had a son. He is awesome and amazing, and I want to spend more time with him. So the previous job I was at, I was a restaurant manager working nights, weekends, holidays, very long hours, and so I just wasn't getting to spend as much time with him as I would like. And this allowed me to spend a lot more time and be able to go to my family events like Christmas and Thanksgiving and be able to spend that time with my son.
I actually got started because of Susan. Out of college, I was looking for a job, and she sent me an email about the open position, and so without Susan, I would have never probably heard about the position being opening. So I started because of Susan McCage, actually.
I was actually very excited that Ryan was getting out of law enforcement and moving into distribution. Never in my wildest dreams would I figured he would have landed at Milbank. Happy that both the boys are here right now.
Here at Milbank, I drove a big red truck around the country, and I flipped hamburgers and put on customer events, and so I did that for a year, and I transitioned into a sales role after that up in the Northeast, and now I've actually moved, so I did that for a few years, and at the beginning of the year I transitioned to a sales manager position in the North Central region.
I kind of decided that law enforcement was something I wanted to get out of, and everyone in my family's been working at Milbank for a long time, and so far it's been an absolutely great experience, and I'm really glad that I made that change from law enforcement to the manufacturing environment.
I started at Milbank as a tool and die maker in 1978. I basically filled in. I would volunteer to fill in everywhere in the plant. If they needed some help somewhere, I'd volunteer. So I learned everything in the plant basically. I progressed pretty fast through the tool and die shop. I became a supervisor over the tool and die, and then actually I moved up to production manager. So it's been a pretty good. I really enjoyed it the whole time. Some of the early memories, my favorite was the first die I built. I built it, and the part worked, and I still have this first part off the first die that I ever built. It's pretty cool because you take pride in stuff like that.
Well, I was pretty much born into this world we call Milbank. He's been working here longer than I've been alive. I remember as a young kid when he was working in the die shop, some of the things I remember was the smell of the cutting fluid that would be on his uniform whenever he'd come home. It had a unique smell to it. And then I remember wondering exactly how he got all those little metal chips in the bottom of his shoes. I always wondered that, and he explained to me he walked around on little metal chips because of his job all the time.
My earliest memory was during my interview. Tom walked me around, showed me the plant, walked me into the tool and die shop. There was a guy in there who was beating on a die with a hammer. I mean, he was giving it to what for. And Tom said, he introduced the guy. He still works here, by the way. And he said, if he can do the job, anybody can. So, of course, Tom was joking. That was the type of personality Tom had. And, another reason that I kind of stayed with the company so long is that you feel like part of the family, and you can joke and have a good time during the day as well as get your job done. So
my earliest memory of Milbank is coming up to the Kansas City facility with you and Grandpa, and going through the factory and going through there and seeing, at that point it was a lot different than it is now currently set up. And I remember seeing the pallet jacks, and I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and I remember thinking, wow, those are probably really fun to ride on.
Part of it when he first got the job is in maintenance. There was a lot of doubt in the plant. They thought he would just give it the job because he was my son, so he had to prove himself extra. And right off, people saw his ability and how good he was doing, and then it became to where they were requesting Britt. They was hoping Britt would come to fix their equipment because he'd been doing mechanical work all his life, and it was great seeing him develop and great seeing him turn into the leadman in what he's done here.
Probably my earliest memories of Milbank is a couple different things. One was take your kid to work day. I very much enjoyed coming in and doing that and spending time with the inside group, and it's funny spending time with people that I now work with on a daily basis, or they're customers of mine now, and going out and seeing the factory floor and working with engineering and blowing stuff up, and it was a ton of fun.
I also remember taking you to work one day, and I don't know if you remember this or not, you were just a little bitty guy, and it was on a Saturday. You come down to work with me, and I had a car that Rob Waldrop had given me, and it was in my office, a little Matchbox car. And I was working away and I knew that he was behind me playing, and I finally turned around and he's driven this car on the walls, the white walls, and there was black tracks all over that wall, which in turn I had to repaint the wall a couple weeks later. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I don't, I don't remember that.
I do.
Another early memory is just growing up and you know, people ask, what does your dad do? And you would say he works for Milbank. And then you'd have to explain for the next 20 minutes what Milbank is, because everybody thinks he works in the banking industry.
Yep.
And then you have to explain that, no, they make meter boxes, and then you have to explain for another 10 minutes what a meter box is. Yep. So I think that was my earliest dive into cells, because I would have to explain to people what a meter socket was before I ever worked for Milbank. So.
Kind of reinforces the fact that Milbank is a family company, and there's family all the way through, and we're just one family of many families that are employed at Milbank. I feel very blessed to have had my job at Milbank, because it's given me the opportunity to raise my kids the way that I did. It's, you know, helped me financially support them, and then again let them come here and work and actually support themselves. So I'm very proud to be a member of the Milbank family.
Stay with this job, because jobs is hard to find, and this job is not a bad job. It's what you make out of it, and you can make it good if you stay there. Just stay in there and just hold your head up and work. That's all you got to do, make a career out of it.
The good thing about Milbank is we are basically a family all together. As Susan said, not just us together, but everybody out there. It's really nice having the coworkers that I do in the office that I work at, because we are basically family. Everybody can just go up and ask anybody. We joke around, we play pranks on each other. We have a good time. So it doesn't feel like a 9-to-5 job where you come in and it's like, okay, I got to work now. You come in, you have fun with everybody, and you still get your job done. So Milbank is a great place to come in and grow as a person and as an employee.
As far as me, working at Milbank was a great experience. I loved it from the day I started until the day I left. The only reason I left was the last 4 years between parts availability and couldn't hire enough people, and then COVID hit. The stress level had really pretty much wiped me out. But the executive team at Milbank was amazing to work for. My co-workers were all great. I loved everybody we worked with. I had great employees here, and most of all, the Waldrop family, the owners of Milbank, they're I know them all. They're good friends, and I appreciate the opportunity they gave me. And I mean, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure working here. I'm glad to see my son carrying on the tradition.
I love that when people are in trouble, just like they get sick, they stick behind each other. And we had a lady that has had cancer before, and we all did fundraisers and stuff to help her out, and I think that's a great and terrific thing.
I think a lot of Milbank. The owners are very, very caring. They care about how we think, what we do. To me, it's a fun place to work. It's not rough. It's very, very close to home. Good pay for Concordia, I believe. I enjoy it, and I would recommend anybody come here.
As you can see, we are proud to be the Milbank family, and I'm proud to be the president and CEO of Milbank as we celebrate our 95th anniversary. I look forward to watching the future generations and their success for years to come.